Hello 2D design. I'm sorry that I couldn't be there today, but I'm going to show you what you can do in my absence. Today you're going to make two monochromatic scales. One is going to be of tints and the other one is going to be of shades. So let's start with tints first. T-I-N-T, that's the singular with an S, tints. That is a hue plus white or black, or plus white. A hue is any color without white or black. Without white or black. So my monochromatic scale, monochromatic scale is like a value scale, only a color. So it's a color to white or black. I'm going to start with a secondary color for my monochromatic tint scale. I draw a big rectangle. I'm going to divide that rectangle in half, and then in half again, and then each part of that is in half. So again, I've divided it in half, then I divide it in half again, and then I divide each part in half. You can pause the video, make your piece of paper look like this. I gave everybody 2 pieces of paper in their bins, so all you need to do is get your bin out, get your paper out. Once you have done this part, unpause the video, and I'll show you more about painting. So hopefully your paper looks like this one. Over here, I set up my palette. You can see my 4 different colors. I'm gonna start with a secondary color. I'm gonna go ahead and start with orange because I like that color because it starts with yellow, my favorite color. So I'm gonna take some yellow, scoop a bunch of it into my tray. I'm gonna mix up an orange inside the middle part of my palette. So if I kind of twist my brush like that, it'll clean off the brush. Then I'm going to take a little bit of red. Red is the bossier color because it's the darker color. So I mix everything up. I'm using tempera paint for this, the tempera paint that's in a bin. I stole from bin number 7. Thank you, bin number 7. There we go. Okay, so that's a pretty good orange. To kind of consolidate my color, I can kind of scoop it up on my palette and make it all in one place so I don't have to worry about it spreading out. So I'm going to take my orange over in my right-hand side. That's going to be my darkest side. So I'm going to paint that in. Then I'm going to take my brush. I'm going to pick up a little bit of the white here, and I'm just going to make a new little palette right there. A new little bin. I'm gonna kind of swirl it around so it's a little bit cleaner. And I'm gonna paint that as my next step. This kind of looks much lighter than I thought it would. I'm gonna go ahead and add that right there to the middle part. I'm gonna mix a little bit more white with my brush. And I'm gonna fill in my sections until I get to white. Now for this part, a quick and easy trick is just keep adding white to the remnants of whatever my orange was while making sure that I'm mixing my brush and kind of swirling it around, refreshing it with white each time because I'm using up some of my orange pigment every time I paint it on there. Oh, that could probably be a little bit lighter. Maybe I can even start a new area that just uses some of the white or some of the orange. My very lightest square. Oh, that's really light. So for my very lightest square, I'm rinsing out my brush And I'm gonna try to get as close to just a pure white as I can. There we go. Oh, so light. And then over here, I'm gonna focus for a second on getting darker and darker oranges. Darker orange. There's a darker one. And then there's my darkest one. So that's a pretty good value scale. If I blur my eyes, then I can see if any parts are not a smooth step. There we go. That's a little bit smoother from light over on to dark. So there's my tints scale. Good. All right, I'm gonna untape it. I only taped it to my desk so that I would know where the video was taking a video. You should tape your scale into your sketchbook. That's my tint scale. And then I'm gonna make a shades scale. Shade is a hue plus black. And remember, a hue doesn't have black or white. So for this one, I'm going to draw my big rectangle just like I did before. I divide that rectangle in half. I divide each side into half, and then each section is going to go in a half. Now, you might ask yourself, Miss Van Ryn, I don't have any black paint. That's all right. You're going to use complementary colors to mix up black. So I'm going to clean off my brush, try to get off as much of the white paint as I can. I should have gotten my paper towel over here and folded it, not crumple it, but I forgot. So I'm just gonna clean off my brush like this. I'm gonna mix up a little bit more of my hue. I'm gonna use the same hue. There's a little bit of red. Mix it up. Add the darker color little bits of the time at a time. Wow, so only that little bit of red, that was all I needed to get a strong orange. So I'm going to use this. Actually, I'm going to use this color here in my original tray and try to use it up. That is my hue. There we go. Now I'm going to try to mix up a little bit of black. You don't need a lot of the complement to mix up a black. But I chose orange because blue is a really strong dark color, and I thought it would be the easiest to mix up a black with orange plus blue. So I'm going to try to see how little blue paint that is. It's barely any. Not quite dark enough. Mix in a little bit more. It's looking like a pretty good gray. For this monochromatic scale, this scale that just goes from a color to black, I want you to mix your own black. After you can prove to me that you can mix up your own black color, I'll let you use the tubes of black just to save a little bit of time. But I've heard of high school programs that don't let people use any pre-made black, and I've heard of a lot of college programs that don't let anybody use pre-made black. So if you can get used to that now, your life will be a little bit easier. Oh, that looks very dark. So what I'm going to do is I have my hue, I have my black over here, the dark version that I made by mixing in the complement to my hue. And I'm just gonna do what I did before. I'm gonna mix little bits of the hue in to make a lighter and lighter version until I get back to the hue. It might be a good idea to rinse my brush out each time so that I'm only mixing the hue in. I'm not remixing my darker version, my shade. So over here on the palette, you can see I'm trying to keep the mixing part in the same part, so I'm not picking up too much of the darker color each time. Oh, this is good. So lucky me, I was a little too good at mixing up my lighter color. So I'm just going to take that and put that right next to my hue, right there. And then I'm going to add little bits of darker until I get to dark. So I'm going to keep kind of judging, squinting my eyes, seeing if I need to use my brush to paint a solid color. But that goes pretty well from hue to a shade. So you're going to follow along. I'm going to change how I grade this, how I check this in. I'm going to do a sketchbook check on Wednesday. So on Wednesday, you should have your shades sheet and you should have your tints sheet. Your tints, there we go. Ooh. They should be taped into your sketchbook so that I can see them. I should also be able to see your other color wheels. I think this will be an easier way for me to grade in real time. You know what you're missing, I know what you're missing, and that'll be a little bit easier. So that's what you're doing today. You're making a shade scale and a tint scale. These should both be on the painting paper in your bin. I hope to see some very colorful monochromatic scales when I get back tomorrow. So when you're all finished, clean off your brush, put it in your bin, clean off your palette if you choose, or put it back in your plastic bag so that you can save the color. And I will see you tomorrow. Have a good Monday. Bye.